Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. Today's episode we are looking at guard pass prevention. Now guard pass prevention is one of the most key elements to fighting. Whether you're just doing BJJ or MMA or whatnot, you must know how to clear a man's guard pass. If somebody is trying to pass your guard and you don't have a good and effective way, efficient way to stop him, you're gonna get tired on the bottom. Okay, and getting tired on the bottom is a recipe for disaster. So let's make sure we have a good guard pass prevention that's not only effective but very easy to do and costs little energy. And in this video, I'm gonna show you one of the best guard pass preventions out there. This works gi or no gi in any situation. This will work for you. Okay, so let's see here. My partner is passing towards my right. Watch, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post towards on his knee. And you see he's passing towards the right. So his weight is going to be crashing down on me in this direction. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to face the same direction of his pressure. So his pressure is crashing down this way. I'm actually going to move my torso and my legs in this direction. I'm going to rotate them. Okay, I'm going to rotate my torso and legs. But very importantly, I'm always going to keep the corner of my eye looking at my opponent. Okay, so everything is turning away except my head. So you see my eyes always looking at him. I could see him from the corner of my eye. My body's effectively turned away from my opponent. I'm going to bring in my hips between me and him, and I'm going to swing my leg wide. See how I swing my leg wide to get back to guard? Here he is. He's crashing down. He's trying to pass my guard. He's going to put a lot of weight on me. I just roll with the pressure. Here comes the weight. Here comes his upper body here. This time I'm not posting on his knee. I'm posting on his shoulders. You can post on either shoulder or you can post on the knee. But what's really important is you go with the pressure. Don't try to push into the pressure. Okay, so I don't want to push in this direction while he's pushing in this direction. That will create a force against force type situation. We don't want that. Okay, we want to roll. We want to keep some clean jiu-jitsu. We want to roll away from him, and we want to get our hips and legs between us and our opponent. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right here. If my opponent is really big and strong, and even heavier than me, if I get my hips between me and him, it doesn't really matter to me how heavy he is anymore. I'll be able to roll him off and get back to my guard of my choosing. Okay, so I'm going to choose a new guard. I'm not going to let him get to side control. Watch this. I don't allow him to make contact with his torso and my torso. I post. I turn away. Very important detail, guys. Keep your eyes on him. See how my eyes are locked on him here? Always from the corner of my eye, I should be able to see him, or else he'll be able to take my back. Notice I tuck in my bottom arm, my left arm. I bring my hips between me and him. Notice as well, I'm up on my shoulders. My back is not on the mat. This is really important. I'm going to hammer that in, this point in a little bit later in the video, making sure that you guys understand this. And from here, I go to inverted spider guard. But you don't have to go to inverted spider guard. You don't have to go into leg locks if that's not your game. You can flow into whatever other type of guard you like. Okay. So here, sometimes they come in so fast, so strong, that this arm right here, I cannot even make space for my... See, I couldn't make space for my hips. He was moving forward so strong, so explosive. Watch what I did here. I used my elbow on the mat and I scooted away from him. Now, usually I just need one good scoot, okay? But in this video, I kind of did it 3-4 times in a row just to make the point really clear. You see how I scoot multiple times? I create just enough space to bring in my hips or my legs, okay? If I can bring in my legs, great. But if he's really pressuring me very heavily, I'll bring in my hips and get my hips in his chest and kind of push him away with my hips. See how I scoot away here? And then once I have enough space for my hips, I'm going to roll on my shoulders. Get those hips off the mat and get your legs and hips between you and your opponent. Okay, real simple stuff here. When you get your hips off the mat, you're essentially turning yourself into a ball. And from there, you can pivot him off in a million and one ways and kind of just get him off you. And here's a typical situation. I added this in because a lot of people tell me, Coach, if you turn away from him, he can take your back. Well, look, if you turn into him, okay, in this video, in this clip right here, I'm turning into him and I'm trying to push him back in my guard like most people do. They try to push him back in the guard and then they try to get these legs back inside, and it's a whole complicated mess. Why is it a complicated mess? Because his weight is crashing down right here. See, and I'm trying to push against his weight. And he's got gravity on his side here, gravity and plus his body weight. This is a problem. This is a real battle here. This is going to get me tired. This battle right here, I want to avoid this altogether. This is just chaotic for me. Now, even if you escape your hips, and you still have your back off the mat. See, when I have my back off the mat, I'm not only creating this force on force reaction here, this chaotic action here, this fatiguing action. I also have my back off the mat. And if you have your back off the mat, he could step over your head here and take your back. He could take your back in a number of ways. So I'm not saying this is a bad guard pass retention. It's a good guard pass retention. But sometimes the guy comes in crashing so hard, so fast, you cannot prevent his guard pass that way. So watch what I do. My opponent comes in crashing really hard, really fast. I post, I create space for my hips, and I turn my body into a ball here. And notice my back is extremely safe. Look how my back is off the mat, but so far away from him. I have this barrier. My hips are a barrier between me and him. This is a very, very important concept. I have the eye contact here all the time on him. I never turn my eyes away from him. We're going to look at that after. What happens if you turn your eyes away from your opponent when you do this maneuver? He will take your back. Okay, so if I keep my eyes on him, it's going to be quite easy for me to prevent him from taking my back. Okay. Now there's a lot more details in this video, so we're gonna break down the next big issue here. Is look, I turned my eyes away from him. I kept my hips on the mat. When you guys drill this, the beginners, this is probably what you're gonna end up doing, and you're gonna be confused and be wondering why isn't this working. Well, the main concern is you didn't keep your eyes on him. Notice my eyes here. See, my eye. I always have him in the corner of my eye. And now watch here, my hips are on the ground. Watch what I'm gonna do. My hips come off the ground, and now I have that barrier again. Okay, I have that barrier between me and him. My back is very far away. Look at that back. Look how far you'd have to jump to get to my back. It's very, very difficult for him to get to me here. And now I'm just gonna turn into a ball. I like to go under the arm with my legs, and then from there I'll attack a leg lock. Now watch here. If he comes crashing down and he's really, really fast, what did I just do there? I propped up on my elbow and I moved in the direction he was moving. So the harder he drives, the more explosive he is, the more he's going to be pushing me in this direction. So I'm just going to ride his momentum here, create a little bit of space, and again, I'm going to go into my roll. I'm going to invert. Look at that eye contact. I'm always looking at my opponent. My hips are in the way. If he comes crashing down, great. I'll do what I did previously in the video. If he doesn't, see, he kind of retreated here. He gave me the space. Look what I do with my feet. I invert the guard. Notice I hook his leg with either arm, and I put my feet between me and him. You want to create the new barrier here is your feet between you and him. You always got to have your hips between your opponent, either your feet or your knees between you and your opponent. These very important barriers, the foot line, the knee line, and the hip line. He must never pass these barriers. Okay, the last line of defense is your hips. If he gets past your hips, you're going to start being in some trouble here. Okay, you absolutely must keep him behind your feet, your knees, and your hips. So here we have a few more looks. Look how I hooked into his leg. And now once I hook into his leg here, I can start attacking him with my leg locks. I can start attacking him with my inverted guard, etc. De La Riva guard, whatever type of guard you like. Here's a few more looks at what to do when he doesn't pressure you, when he doesn't crash down on your hips, when he doesn't try to get too tight and you have all that breathing room. No problem. Just get your feet in there between you and him. Now here's a look at somebody who tries to do it and doesn't get his hips off the ground. Okay, so we're getting a quick look at it again. I want to make sure that you guys don't turn away and give your back. Okay, that would be just crazy. When you turn away and you don't get your hips off the mat, you're essentially creating a rectangle. I always tell my opponents, my students, don't turn into a bed. You know, don't become a rectangle. When your opponent is passing the guard, you cannot lay down flat. Your hips must come off the mat. Okay, now look at this. I'm wrestling this grappling dummy here. He has no hips. He cannot invert. And look, it's so nice and stable. You know, he's a rectangle. He's very easy for me to lay my weight on. There's no instability here. It's very comfortable, very easy for me to just drop my weight on him. Now, when you do lift your hips off the mat, you're essentially turning yourself into a ball. Now look at me here trying to pass the guard of this exercise ball. Any which way I put my weight, it's always deflecting me. It's always trying to move me. It's very dynamic. It's not stuck. And this is exactly what I want to do when I'm on the bottom. I want to turn myself into a ball. I want to invert the guard. I want to keep my hips between me and him. Watch this as he comes forward. Look what I'm doing here. I'm keeping my hips on the ground. Look what happens. I'm a rectangle. He has a nice place for him to connect his arms, his chest, and drop his body weight on me. Okay, or take my back, even worse. Okay, so watch here. Now as he passes the guard, look what I'm going to do. I create a little space. I scoot away. And look, I turn myself into a little ball here. Once you turn into a little ball, you can deflect him any which way. It's very dynamic. You're not letting him stabilize. You're not giving him a place to rest his weight. You're flowing from one position to the next. This is exactly what you want to do when you're on the bottom. You never want to let the top man fatigue you. Okay, so here's the last little few looks. I think you should watch this video once, twice if you've never done this before. Take some notes. There's a lot of key details. But I guarantee you, if you guys drill this, you will become masters at retaining the guard, and guard passing, your opponent's guard passing your guard will be a thing of the past. It'll be a very, very difficult guard to pass. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Please make sure to like, share, and comment. And as always, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.